is? Did y'all sing Kumbaya, my
I'm pretty, yeah.
Lord,
They sung like a whole bunch of fucking
Kumbaya.
songs. I'm pretty sure that probably was one of the songs they sung.
It sounds like maybe you guys had like the oh gosh. You know, it's funny the kind of stupid stuff that people, you know, some people that are totally full of crap really do, like, they can say things with conviction. I mean, like, and when you don't know that people are full of crap, how do you know?
You can kind of tell when people,
You say that because that's because you've seen people before that are full of crap. I mean, I moved down here and met Alan, and I had never known that anybody was full of crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that I was smart or I was stupid or anybody, you know, I just didn't know. I didn't know any better. So the stuff that, I mean, so even now, like, to this day, and now don't get me wrong, there's things that Alan taught me. There's things that Alan has said to me or told me about life that, you know, even now, like, even every now and then I'll be like, oh shit, like, that makes sense, or like, I get it, you know? So I mean, of course there's gonna be wisdom in there too, but like, but that's the point, is that like when somebody's full of crap and they just absorb everything around them, you know, it's gonna be a mixture of, you know, truth and bullshit, you know? And they're gonna say it all with conviction, because even if the person that told them, well, yeah, I mean, truth is truth to them. So, but yeah, one of the things I remember he told me one time, talking about when he used to ride motorcycles. I don't think motorcycles. I think he rode like a bike, you know, like a freaking
dirt bike.
Yeah, but he said something about, you know, whoever this man that was telling him about riding and stuff, you know, told him that, you know, you're always supposed to hug the inside line. You know, especially like on curves and stuff. You know, you want to hug the inside line. And I said, why? And he goes, well, because it demands respect from the vehicles on the road. You know, they have to get out of your lane, you know, because you're smaller, you have to demand respect.
Or
and I said, that's fucking stupid. That seems like what you would tell somebody that you want them to die.
You get clipped by one of these diesel 4s with the long ass mirrors sticking out.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody
upside the fucking head one time on a fucking bike.
Right.
That's,
you know what I mean?
happens.
Like, yeah, I bet the kid who's, you know, I mean, I bet the teenager that murdered his whole family, I bet his dad said respect was something that was demanded and not earned too, huh? And that's why he fucking killed his whole family. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't teach people like that. Like, that's insane. And I mean,
I would like, that's not even teaching safety or anything. But
he said
the safest way to ride a fucking motorcycle, not the fucking.
Oh, and you know what? I know why it came up.
Or fucking.
I know now why this even came up in conversation.
That's being an aggressive driver.
Yeah, that's just being an idiot. Like, why would you hug the inside of the lane?
It's definitely not an offensive driver. Sure.
I mean, if you were on the toy aisle at Walmart and you were a grown up on the toy aisle, and a teeny little toddler came up to you and was like, "Get back, punk! Get back! This is my aisle." Would you be like, "Oh, my bad. Respect, dog. Respect."
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be like, "Bitch, I'll fucking step on you." That's what if I was the 18-wheeler and I was, or better yet, or even better, like, what if you were?
Almost sneezed.
What if you were? Are you okay?
Yeah. Almost sneezed too though. I'm good.
That would have been if you would have sneezed, would we have died?
No, I mean, hopefully not. But
I don't think we would have died if you would have sneezed. I mean,
it just would have made me nervous a little bit because my eyes would have been closed for a second.
Yeah, but if you can't drive for a split second with your eyes closed when you sneeze, then you should not be looking at your phone ever. But you tell me.
I mean, it's happened. I've sneezed before while driving.
And you lived, huh?
Yeah, I'm still here. Here right now.
So yeah, we've got to work on this whole, like, these mindsets. Like, they're just different mindsets, and it's like, so you have to keep in mind that, like, I don't want to put you down or like make you feel any certain way. Like, it's just, you have to understand that, like, I know you, and I believe that. I really believe that I know who you really are, and I mean that in the way of, like, I see the good and the bad in you, but, like, I see you. So, like, when it's almost like I'm like, when you're in these mindsets that are not you, like, that's why then I'm like, kind of like, stop, you know? So, I mean, I guess I don't ever want to come across as, like, arrogant or, like, anything, or, like, belittle you. And I notice sometimes times that I can, and I really don't want to, and I try to work on that, you know. But I do want you to know that it's like there's a way that I always speak to you because it's the way that I speak to you. But like I would talk to Vince the same way if he, you know, if I was around Vince, like I speak to him a certain way, and that's just the way I would speak to you when you're acting like that, you know, because that's not you. But I mean, that's, you know, I mean, and that's, it's, I guess I just need for you to see that, like, when you feel bad, like, if you do something and you're mean, and then you feel bad about it later, you know, like, if you wanted to gauge, like, I mean, you could see, like, how much gas we have in the car right now, right? Like, you know how much gas we have based on the thing on the, whatever you call it, the little reader thing that tells you how much gas, the gas gauge. So, but you know, we don't have anything like that on our body or like in our brains, like for trauma. Like there's no really way to measure how much trauma a person's, you know, has accumulated, or like how much, you know, how much of their brain is like kind of affected in a way, or, you know, like they're kind of, everything's kind of like altered at times based on trauma. But like, I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that a good way to gauge that would be those moments, like the moments when you behave in a way that you know is not you, and then how soon after do you feel bad about it, and how long do you live in that state of like, I feel bad about it, but like I'm gonna try to do better, and then how long until you get back to a point where you're like, I don't give a fuck, you know? Because I think that guy at the gas station, like, I think his time frame is probably a lot different than yours. I think that would be a good way of saying, you know what, that guy may have just enough of himself left inside of him underneath all that trauma, that he probably has a lovely girl at home tied up that sees that tiny little glimpse of him, like his eyes, every now and then he looks at her and she sees him in there. There's like a little glimmer of life still left, and she's so broken that it's just enough for her to believe that he's not a monster, you know? I mean, really though, like I'm not being funny, and I'm not being like, I'm saying like that's actually how these scenarios go. And literally he can't even make it out the door without being, you know, that little glimmer of himself being, you know, totally washed away by all that trauma and stuff. And so like that's the world I think that we're living in. And I think that the more people keep recreating and reliving these traumatic events from their past, they always unfold in worse ways, you know? They always are worse because that's how these things go. And so I believe that what you and I are doing, I believe you and I are doing the opposite of that. I really feel like you and I have healed a lot of stuff within ourselves, because the problem is when you go through trauma and then it's unresolved and you're not even aware of it, and you kind of like keep recreating that same cycle over and over and over. We're doing it subconsciously to try to resolve it, but it never gets resolved. So it gets worse and worse and worse. And in the same time, we're victimizing other people in the process, you know? So like, how many times did your mom ever get the shit beat out of her? I'm sorry, I'm just gonna speak freely, and I mean, I'm recording it, but it's not like posted or anything, you know? But like, how many times did you watch really fucked up situations go down, and then your mom grab up your dad, hug him, make him look her in the eyes and say, I love you and it's gonna be okay. Now let's go in there and talk to Danny and tell him it's gonna be okay too. And then you guys all, you know, worked through it together. You know, like, did that ever happen?
No.
I mean, did it get better every time, or did it get worse every time? Or I mean, like, if it were to go in one direction, would you say it kind of like, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What?
I thought you were about to go.
No, I was just scooting up a little bit. Really, I was repumping
Everybody's
the brakes.
okay. Everybody's vehicles here are loud. Like, I don't know why I'm so sensitive to sound since we've been on this trip, but I have been like very autistic. And that's a real thing, Danny. I mean, I am over, like, I don't think, for the record, I don't think that I'm maintaining well. I don't think that my energy level or like my amount of like nervous talking and stuff, and I say nervous talking, but that's not to say that the things I'm saying are not valuable. You know, I mean, I don't think I'm just speaking gibberish just to hear myself talk, but I am speaking a lot in response to the amount of activity in my brain right now. You know what I mean? That's kind of one of the ways that I'm kind of expressing it, but I don't think that I've got a lot of emotions and I've got a lot of stimulating, like there's a lot of stimulation going on in me, and there has been pretty much since, you know, I mean, really this whole time that we've had Nevaeh, you know, a lot. And it's not a bad thing. But I mean, it's not a bad thing at all. There is no but. It's not a bad thing. It has been for you because you think it's a bad thing. That's the catch.
It is when it's causing fights.
It's not when it's causing fights. Because our fights don't get worse every time, and our fights don't make her feel the way their fights make you feel. Our fights still make you feel the way their fights make you feel. So you think that it makes her feel that way. I mean, you have to know too that like this is not a popularity contest, so I'm not, I look like a fucking flying cat almost for a second. Yeah, I know, but I was like, the way it was like shaped, like, damn, meow. You know,
it's not stuck on the car.
That'd be okay if it is.
Not really.
I mean, if it got stuck on your head and you couldn't see or breathe and you died of asphyxiation, or you couldn't see and you ran us off this bridge, that would be bad. But it would mean we would have to have the windows down, like on the front of the car. Or actually, yeah, I don't think that would be possible at all. I think that, you know, I understand that I don't think I make assumptions or accusations. I think those are harsh words, but I am critical of people and their behavior, and I understand that, and I know full well that if I'm going to behave in a certain way, or if I'm going to hold people accountable to that extent, that I have to hold myself accountable, even more so. If, you know, that would be the right thing to do, and I do that. I try really hard to do that. However, I don't. Sometimes I feel like people try to make other people look bad. And I feel like, you know, an easy way to do that is like to find people's triggers and use them against them, set people off, and then sit back and be an innocent angel while they flash out or whatever it is, whatever they're doing, you know.
I feel like you've been kind of doing that.
I know that, and that's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm saying I have not been purposely doing that. So I need you to know that I haven't been doing that, and I am aware that it looks like that. But that's why I'm telling you, I need for you to know that I'm doing all of this that I'm doing with the confidence and the belief that it's not going to stay like this forever. And I just need for you to believe that too, because otherwise it is going to end up being that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to make you look, I'm not going to, like, there's been times that you have absolutely just made yourself look, I mean, like, you have made a big deal out of nothing, and I'm not going to defend you and be like, because that's going to, I'm not going to sugarcoat. No, there's a difference I guess you could sugarcoat the truth or a lie. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not going to sugarcoat something and make Nevaeh think, you know, but I'm not going, damn, like, what's his problem? Like, whoa, flash out much? You know, like, I'm not doing that. But I'm telling you that she's not affected by it the way you were affected by the situation you were in, because it's not the same situation. And I'm telling you that there's a slight disconnect between you and her, but it's really because she's so in tune with people's emotions and yours are so closed off that really it's not that there's not a lot there between y'all in that way. But she's not looking at you the way, she's not traumatized like you were going through what she went through, you know what I mean? So I'm telling you though, like when you when you stormed in the house, you know, after Walmart, like I'm not gonna be like, okay, so here's the thing, like that is not, you know, like I'm just gonna tell her, like, just what I told her. I said he's just having to figure out that things are okay, and like that it's okay to talk about things or speak our mind and then go on, you know, like it's just really a change in environment for him, you know. But I mean, I don't know there's nowhere that she got it from. Like, that's who she is. Like, no one told her and she just believed it. But like, she's the one that told me. Everyone loves. And yeah, some people just don't really know the right ways to show it, but everyone loves a lot. I mean, I have a video. Like, it was when we did our podcast thing, you know, that she said that. So I mean, like, I need, but either way, no matter what she knows or doesn't know, the fact is, no, we're not going to be in an environment where I sit around and set you off and say, no, we're going to talk about this right now, and you're going to da-da-da-da-da, and then you get mad, and then I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with it, Nevaeh. You want to hang out? You know, like, that's not okay, and I know that, and we're not going to do that. But like Linda said, you know, the next time y'all see her, the next time she comes and stays with y'all, things will be even better than they were this time. And when you agree that things were better this time than they were last time. But when I'm saying yes to her, what she doesn't know is that I'm talking about, like, in every way, you know, like, I mean, Nevaeh's gonna she's gonna come stay with us one day very soon, and we're gonna be exactly like the way we were when we went and stayed there, you know, that summer when we went and stayed, and it was September or whatever, you know, like, we were perfect then. We were so perfect, weren't we? Everything was perfect. Roscoe, me, you, her, everything was perfect. Me and Casey were best friends. Everything was perfect. But it wasn't. It was in that moment. But there was stuff underneath that could not be perfect forever, you know? And now it's out there. And the worst is came and gone. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about Becky, just to be clear. No. I mean, the worst is came and gone. So, I mean, like, yeah, things were not pleasant the whole time. But you can't say that I ruined the whole trip. First of all, you can't say that I ruined it, because I didn't. And you can't say that the whole thing was ruined, because it wasn't. There just wasn't any time where we acted like things were okay when they weren't. That did not happen. So I mean, like, but that's okay, because she's smarter than that. There is I know people say, like, addiction and stuff like that, like, it's part of it can be genetics, like, it's something that really just can be, like, you know, a family can be, like, genetically, you know, almost just like my dad was an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic, you know. I think that there is, like, something in y'all's blood that really, it makes it, like, shame is like an addiction for y'all. And I'm not talking bad about you, I'm saying, like, I see it, and I want it to stop with you and her. I need it to, because the thing is, do you know that, like, when people have addictions, even though it's not always fun and it ruins lives, there's a part of it that's fun. There's a little bit, at least, that's enjoyable. People wouldn't do it if it didn't bring them some type of pleasure or help them escape in some way, you know? Shame is not fun at all. Ever. So, I mean, like, did you not notice that the last hour of the trip, y'all were both just taking turns just trying to piss me off? don't think it's because y'all hate me and you want to make me mad. I mean, I think it's because y'all both need for somebody to make you feel like a piece of shit. And I'm sorry I'm speaking so bluntly. I'm not really meaning it in any way. I'm really not. It breaks my heart because I think that's why she got so fidgety earlier, was because everybody was sitting there talking good about her, and it just made her uncomfortable because she doesn't completely believe that about herself yet, you know. Look at that. Good for you, Corolla. Good for you. That's so nice. I mean, you kind of were a little bit, but you had your cruise set, so it wasn't like you were doing it to be a jerk. There's so many things. Like, I'm just like, I haven't even processed, like, oh my gosh.